It always is on. Hello, and welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. You'll notice I have a different background, a different coffee mug. It's not even coffee. I'm at my mom's beach house, and we just had some work done, so there's no coffee, a lot of no things. We just had a plumber here, so it's been quite a morning. But I have an exciting treat for you. I've never done this before, but I'm visiting my friend, and the first thing I said was, "What the hell's going on with your color?" So my Hair Color Secrets Insider Inner Circle members got a tease of what we're going to talk about today because I went into the group and said, if this client were to sit in your chair, how would you fix this? And what do you think went wrong? Let's talk about what went wrong. So rather than simply post a photo, which as we know, photos can be deceiving and not tell the whole story. I have her here live with me. We are visiting, having a little pajama party. And I said, you're coming on Coffee Chat tomorrow. So she is here live. I'm going to show you her existing hair. And then I want you to think about the questions that you need to ask to get to the bottom of what happened before you stepped into the color correction. What was done prior to you? It's important to know every single step that happened. I had a conversation with her and I thought something completely different with what she said. And then when I dug deeper, I found out more. And the more is very critical to the corrective situation. So I'm going to welcome her now onto the coffee chat. Come on over. So this is Truda, and she had her hair in a braid when we were at the pool yesterday, and only this big Whomper white piece here, French fried piece, was hanging out of her hat. Now, of course, she's my best friend, so I've been doing her hair for over 35 years, but now I live in Florida. So she went elsewhere, and she is that client that calls the day of, right? And says, oh my gosh, my roots are so bad. I'm selling a house. I have an appointment. I can't look this way. You have to squeeze me in. And the squeezer inners are the ones that have heavy banding and all kinds of issues because every colorist is taking a different approach to the hair. So it shows up. It's, she was just asking me, what do I do with all this damage? I'm like, the damage is there until it's cut out. Once you fry hair, there's no resealing it. It needs to hit the floor. So she wears her hair very long. So she didn't want to hear that. But I want her to turn around and I want to show you, tilt your head back. So she was done a week ago. Come all the way in. It's a good thing she's flexible. I have her bending backwards like an Olympic athlete, but she doesn't have a big penis that's going to hit the pole. So she has gray. She has gray and this really dark root against this really, really, really blonde hair. Not only that, but the whole party is in the front with the blonde. As soon as you separate her right here, right at the occipital, she's almost totally natural right here and all the way down. Like it's like this was never addressed. And her hair has just enough of a layer that you can see the disconnect between this back. Turn this way. Totally solid back. And then if she turns sideways, when this is down, it looks like she's completely blonde. So very solid, no dimension, everything too close together. Regrowth too dark. She is very gray. So she's a great open blank canvas palette for any color blonde that she wants. And she keeps pointing to my hair while we're here saying, why can't I get what you have? I said, because it's a communication issue. You probably sat in the chair and just said, I need my roots done. So I want you to talk about what you said when you sat in the chair for this particular visit.
Okay. So Elaine's right. I do travel to 3 different states for my job. And I'm always last minute, please help me with my hair. I have some favorites, but lots of times I can't get in with them. So I go to the next best choice. And when I walked in, I did ask if she would do my roots and give me highlights. And then she basically said, well, I'll do your roots, but it turns out I don't think I'm going to have enough time to do your highlights. So I don't know why it looked darker. but I remember when the roots looked lighter with my regular girl, as the gray came in, it blended in nicer. So I'm obsessed with how Elaine's hair looks right now. I love it. And I want that, but I can't seem to get it when I ask. So I took pictures of it and I'm going to bring it back into my salon that I go to, my regular girl, to see if she can tweak me to look like have the color that Elaine has with the highlights and the light blonde roots. So
So I want to ask all of you a question. This is a quick, fun little learning um, opportunity. Do you think that the blonde that's in there now happened on this visit, or was the blonde there before she got to the visit? Because that's where I was unclear. I assumed one thing, but it was completely another. And that's what happens when a client sits in our chair. There's a lot of assuming going on. And we all know the word assume is making an ass out of you and me. And it is, because we assume a lot and we don't know what is the complete history. All you have to do is separate, like I did in the back here, separate this hair, and you can see the complete and total history of where this hair has traveled because of the length of it. It has been on her head for years, right? We know that hair only grows so much, so many inches in a year. So this hair has been around for a long time. Here's my Dirty Sanchez mustache. So look at the difference between this and this. So what I want you to share now, Truda, is the picture that you showed the stylist. I wish I did ahead of time. I should have loaded it in there. But the picture that she showed them was a very Kelly Clarkson, very thick weave, chunky blonde, chunky dark, chunky blonde. So as you can see, close up here, there's no chunky dark at all. And there's a lot of different shades going through here. And the blonde was left completely raw. But let me see if you guys answered before I give away the answers about what you think. So they're all saying they think the blonde was there before. So you guys are better than me. I thought that she got the blonde on this visit, and I was digging deeper with her. We were sitting at the pool and I said, did you give this girl a really small budget that you said, I need to stick to this amount? Because we know that clients do that, right? They sit in our chair and say, I only have 100 to spend. I only have 200 to spend. They think they're on the Price is Right, and they're in a contest where they have a little bank to spend, and it doesn't work that way. And if they have a budget, that's fine, but we have to explain to them what can be done to fit inside the budget, not just address the front and leave the back. We can't do that. So I want to hear some feedback from you guys. Like, what do you think went wrong? Do you think it was a her problem or the stylist problem, or both? Who is at fault for her being so disappointed in what she wanted to get? And she shared with me, because she's been on my journey as both a stylist in a commission salon, a salon owner in a one-person salon, a multi-salon owner, before I wrote the book, while I wrote the book, all the things. She's been on this ride with me. So she can probably color hair, as can my daughter, with never going to beauty school, just from listening to me go on and on and on about hair color. So she was trying to school the colorist. She tell them what you told me about the rinsing and all of that. She was like, well, my friend does. I'm sure they hate when she walks in the door.
Yes, I did. So I said, what my friend does is, if she gives me low lights and highlights, she'll rinse out the low lights so that it doesn't travel onto the highlights. Like, she'll keep the foils on to protect the beautiful highlights that she just did. And she said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I think it's the most obvious thing, and I don't even do hair. But just to kind of add a little bit of information, what I did say to this hairdresser was, I said, look, I prefer to have my roots done and throw in some highlights. I will walk out with my hair wet. And she chose to give me roots, no highlights, and blow dry my hair so I could walk out. And I don't know why. But then I don't want to say anything because she's really nice. And then, you know.
So what I'm hearing again, and it could be something totally different. She showed up with all of this blonde in here already. If this last stylist only did the regrowth, The stylist only messed up the depth of the regrowth. However, you can see that there's banding now because she should have been able to plainly see that she doesn't go this dark. So she was trying to do, I assume, step one of the depth and the contrast of the Kelly Clarkson photo, but didn't articulate or explain to Truda, okay, so I see in this picture, there's a very chunky highlight. You already have all of that in your hair. So I agree with her. She did not need highlights. If she walked in with this, that girl was absolutely right not giving her more highlights. However, she did not explain that by only doing the regrowth, an inch of her gray, a darker color, that she would look acceptable in the transition into the photo. So that's where a deeper consultation comes in. That's where, for me and my salon and all of my students in the inner circle of the Hair Color Secrets Insider, you all know that when I see something like this coming in and they hand me a picture and I know it's not going to happen the day of, that there is a form, a corrective color consent form. It is part of the library of the Hair Color Secrets Insiders. I highly recommend using it on any client who is new because, and existing when it comes to corrective color. Because remember, Truda in our conversation blamed everything on the stylist that just did it. So all of you watching are professional stylists and colorists. You know that that girl only did this, but she's getting the bad rap for all of this. And she's getting the bad rap because she did not address it. It's like when someone has something in their tooth and you talk to them for 2 hours and don't tell them there's something in their tooth. That's a bad friend. They need to know, like, you have a little piece of lettuce in your tooth. So by avoiding, we don't want to bash the person before us, but by her avoiding, listen, to get you from this to this photo, these are the steps that need to happen. Today, I only have this amount of time for you. We can do this. However, today and for the next, whatever, 5-6 weeks, however long you're not going to be here, you're going to have a huge disconnect where you're going to feel like you have black roots. If that was intent, I don't think that that was her intention. I think she misformulated darker than she needed to, because Truda has a lot of gray. Like, you wouldn't know it by looking at her now, but it's a lot. Like, it's probably 70%, especially in the front. So she did what a lot of stylists do. And she was like, oh, okay, the picture looks like it's a level 5. Let me put level 5 permanent color with 20 volume on her hair. Let me stop in a harsh line. You know, this was not a root shadow, a root tap, or a melt. This was a simple gray retouch. It was not the proper chosen service for the situation, in my opinion. I would not have done that. So I want to hear from you guys. Stacey J is very trained in this, in the Hair Color Secrets Insider. She said poor consultation. And that's normal, right? She probably, let's get to the backstory, because I know her really well and I know there was some squeezing going on. So what was the conversation when you called where you're like, please, 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 can you squeeze me in? And she's like, yeah, but I don't really have the time. Or was it a legit full appointment time?
So we were fine with her squeezing me in. And just to kind of back up a little bit, I did say to her, if she's only going to do my roots, I said, I won't have that line, will I? Like that, I call it a demarcation. I don't know if that's what it's called, but, and she's like, oh no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So I did say to her, if you could do my roots and do some foiling to make it blend so I don't have a line, and I'll walk out wet. I'll just put in a leave-in conditioner and walk out wet because I play, excuse me, pickleball all the time. Um, and she chose, when I said that in the beginning too, when I came in, and before you know it, she did my roots and she said, I'm not going to do your highlights. I'll blow you out. And I said, okay.
Was there ever a conversation? This is my battery of questions. Was there ever a conversation about addressing the rawness of this blonde? Did she say, I would prefer to do a quick glaze on this hair? Did she want to do more? And you said, no, 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 I want to
No.
stay under a certain budget. Was price discussed at all?
I was the one who said to her, my hair looks super dry. If you're going to blow it out, can you put some kind of a product on? You know, I don't know if it's a glaze or whatever. And I think she may have said that she was going to do like a like I don't know if there's a glazed keratin product, but I don't know if she did that. So, and I honestly, sometimes I do walk out, I'm in a hurry and I paid the bill, but I didn't see the itemized, um, because I was just running to my next appointment. So,
Danielle just said, that's what I keep thinking. I just want to glaze it so bad. How many of you are like me where you go to a baseball game or a hockey game with your significant other and the whole time you sit there and just formulate the hell out of everybody around you? Like I would sit there and be like, man, she is 8 minutes away from looking like Jennifer Aniston. That one is like
okay.
10 minutes away from looking like the most beautiful, rich chocolate brunette. Like sometimes that chef's kiss on the top is what really like just a simple glaze would have made such a difference, would not have added to any of the time because she had to sit and process for this the entire time. The glaze doesn't even need the whole entire time that it's on the regrowth. So she could have glazed it at the same time, brought shine into it, brought a cohesiveness even to the darker root that she gave her. It would have made more sense. And I kept trying to explain to her, like, as soon as I looked at her, I said, you're going to be so mad because your grow out is going to be so obvious and so quick, which I didn't expect it to be a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a week. And she has like a little bit of gray and that band. So, and then what happens is because it's too dark, it's not an easy fix. You know, all of us would love to know that color works the way our clients think it works. I'm going to speak for her, and this may not be true because, like I said, she's as educated as all of you by hearing me talk for all these years. But most at home, not at home, most clients think that hair color is magic and that too dark, oh, put a light color right on top of it, make it lighter. It kind of makes sense in theory, but we all know that hair color doesn't work that way. So we can't just put a magic thing on top of her deep base to lighten that banding. And to do what we have to do to lighten the banding is more harsh chemicals, more damage. She's already like, can you please put a magic potion on this and make it look like my hair did before? And I broke it to her this morning very early that that's not happening. We can put things on top that are loaded with silicones to make it appear healthier. Like she said that the stylist was recommending some sort of keratin treatment that she still doesn't know if she had. But did she ever at any point say to you, today I only have time for this. I'm going to do a root touch up on your gray and I'm going to blow you out and the price is going to be blank. Did that ever happen?
No.
So most of you, I'm going to call you out and bully you because that's my job. Most of you are probably doing the same thing. We're like, this is what I need to do. This is the amount of time. Barbara said my video went away. Let me check it. But most times, is Barbara the only one that my video went away for? Put in the chat whether you can still see and hear me. Because I'm on a new Wi-Fi that probably is not as stable as it could be. Oh yeah, no, we're good. I think it's just you, Barbara. You're probably in the storm zone. So most of us feel uncomfortable having the conversation before we start doing the chemical service because it's awkward or we're embarrassed. But as you can see, what did you pay?
Believe it or not, I think I paid $120.
And then is that with a tip or without a tip?
No, it was a tip on top.
So tip
Mm-hmm.
and $120 for a black line down her part. So then what happens is you automatically knee-jerk reaction say, I want to go back to the person who did this to me and I want them to fix it. Would any of you recommend that she go back to this person to fix what she created here? What would be her best course of action moving forward? Because this happened. This is why I'm a colorist. This is why I educate colorists. Because when I was in beauty school, my sister had a mess happen to her from my boss that I was learning from at the time. And she was crying. She's like, this is the worst my color ever looked. I hate myself. She was trying to drive into poles on the way home. I was her passenger. Not cool. But she was upset. And then I said, do not go back to her to fix it. She created the mess in the first place. That's kind of the way I think as being a colorist. Most people, it's about the money. So they're like, well, I already paid $120 plus a tip. I want her to make this right. She's not going to make it right because she clearly didn't have the right tools in the first place. She's going to react in a negative way of, oh, great. I had to squeeze this lady in and took my time the other day and I got paid for it. Now I have to try to fix it. Fixing it is going to require more than just putting another color on top of it. It's a corrective situation. And now I can't charge her because this is an adjustment. So the point of all of this, and the reason that I'm sharing it with all of you, is to protect yourself from the word go with any situation like this. Because here's the deal, guys. If she goes to me, which I wish I had my stuff with me and I could fix it for her because I'd be happy to. But if she comes to me and I tackle this and take this on, and God forbid some of this breaks off in me trying to fix it, she's my best friend. She's not going to sue me. But if she was a stranger and I go in, white knight galloping in on my white horse to save her, and I have the best of intentions in fixing it, and I, in the process, do anything that's damaging, who do you think that both the client and the judge, if you're taken to court, is going to blame on that situation? Are they going to go back 3 other stylists back to see who created this hay in the first place? No. They're going to say, you colored her hair on August 5th, blah, 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 blah. You are responsible. You have a fine of whatever, and you got to make this right. So we are responsible. As soon as we touch their hair with any additional chemicals, we are responsible and get the blame for all that happened before us. So it's important to do that color consent form. And I'm so specific. It's like I have a law degree because I've owned a salon almost 40 years. I've seen all the BS. I've seen someone try to blame. She could easily go into that salon and ask to see the owner and say, look at what your girl did to me. And this is not quality color. And I want this fixed. The owner isn't going to know that she came in with that blonde. She's not going to, she's going to assume that everything was done by her girl on this visit. Let me hear from you in the comments if you agree with this, because it happens every single day. And then we have to eat crow and make it right because we didn't specify. So the color consent form says today is, what is today? August 7th?
Mm-hmm.
6th. I'm rushing things. So 6, whatever today is. Today is August 6th. This client, Truda Carney, is coming to me with existing overly processed, heavily blonde hair in the front only, with completely dark, natural, level, whatever in the back. Tell the story on the form. Take a photo of her as soon as she comes into your space. Before you touch a thing, you take a photo from your phone. Your phone has a timestamp and a date stamp. So you have proof that she came in looking like this. It sounds dramatic, but trust me, the thousands of dollars that my salon has avoided losing over these situations, because we have written, thank you, Mary, today's the 7th. It's how many blondes does it take to say the right date?
Oh, it is
obviously
7th.
More than 2.
It is the 7th.
But I'm on my sister's computer too. So normally I would look down and see my calendar on my Mac. I am a Mac girl. She is a PC girl. So very confusing to me. And we're down here working. She is doing an online course for hairstylists. Stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. And we're recording here on her computer. So let's just say I don't drink alcohol, but I might start tonight. Lots of stress with technology, with being in a different space, not in my normal thing. But really, guys, the Hair Color Secrets Insider Library, that color consent form is one single document in a 100 video dashboard of everything you need to be the best hairstylist, colorist that you possibly can be. Every corrective situation, reds browning out, over glazing, over toning. What do you do? How do you avoid it? Avoiding brassy outcomes on retouching blondes. If you are on here, and a lot of you are, and you're one of my members, you know that this would not have happened if she sat in my chair, and you know what I would have done differently. And you do it differently now because you've become a member of this group. So I appreciate all of you. I appreciate my live.
So this is all my best friend's fault because she spoiled me all those years by taking care of my hair.
That's true. So what happens too is perfect. I'm glad you said that, because when people move or change salons, or their hairstylist picks up and moves to another state, like happened with her, they're so, Truda is so pretty, reminds me of a young Madonna.
Oh, thank Yeah.
a pre-crazy surgery Madonna. But a client like her, she had such a trust. Like she would stand and literally fall back and do the trust fall with me because she's never had a bad outcome with me. And she just sits there and says, what do I need? So it's uncomfortable for the client. And we forget that in the consultation that they're uncomfortable. It's like going to a new doctor and you had thyroid surgery or gallbladder surgery 2 years ago, and you kind of roll in with the assumption that that doctor knows you're missing your gallbladder. They have no idea. They're not reading the chart. They're not asking for the chart. You have to advocate for yourself. So most clients aren't getting into the nitty gritty and advocating for themselves because they don't know what they're supposed to say. They assume when they've had a fabulous, caring, awesome colorist, that the person taking care of them knows what they're doing, knows the proper questions to ask to get it out of her. It's almost like how she's the licensed therapist and a life coach. So she knows the right questions to ask someone to get to their wound to see what they're, struggling with. A person doesn't just come in and go, oh, in third grade, I got picked on and they stole my lunch and I got hit over the head and I dropped my ice cream cone when I was in fifth grade. And that stuff just doesn't, you don't sit there and volunteer that. And it's the same thing with a consultation. They don't realize that a henna from 2 years ago, if she had had a henna, which she hasn't because she knows not to do that, but a lot of clients were living in this world of organic, all natural. So if this was all henna under here and I don't know that because I didn't ask, that's on me. That's not on her because she doesn't know that henna is like the herpes of hair color. It just does not leave the hair. It needs to be treated completely differently than box color or any of the other things that come along that we as the professional need to ask about. Claire said, great conversation today. Your friend's definitely better looking than Madonna. Claire, I missed you. Claire used to be in the Hair Color Secrets Insider and the Inner Circle. She lives in the UK. She's been with me for at least 3 years, and she's no longer in the Inner Circle because she was such an A-grade student that she has heard everything that I have to say, and she completely is confident with everything. And being in the UK, the amount of stamina and tenacity that Claire exhibited by showing up for coaching calls. The UK is 5 hours later than me. I start my coaching calls at 8 p.m. So do the math. Claire was up in the middle of the night on a hair color coaching call because she invested in herself. She invested in the program and she knew that the coaching calls were where it was at. Yes, you can have a library of 100 videos. Yes, you can get all the information that you need. However, if you don't put it to use and you don't have the confidence and the mindset behind it, you're not going to change your behavior. So the coaching pushes you to that next level and has you doing the actual thing that you needed to do to become a better colorist. So let's do this. Let's take another peek at Truda. I'm going to dig through her hair. I'm going to show you, all the things. Danielle asked for the inspo pic. Can you get your fingers on that quick so that we can hold it up on your phone?
I don't
grab your phone. I can always post it later, but I'll dig through and get really up close and show you her hair. And then how about next Wednesday, we talk about what we would do to get her back on track. I want to hear from you guys and we'll talk about what you thought was the good thing to do and what I would say, do this, not that. My insider members, we can talk about this on our call on Sunday. We have a coaching call. So we can go through it. I can answer all of your questions, but I want all of the coffee chat audience as well to be curious, ask yourself the questions. What would I do if this person sat in my chair right now with where she is right now? So she's just finding her chunky back. Well, the other problem is she showed me 3 different pictures, and this is classic. 3 different pictures of 3 completely different looks, and she showed them all to her. So what that stylist got from any 3 of those pictures to do what she did, I think she went into complete hijack and panic mode and was like, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to cover the roots because she's clearly here to not have gray hair. She took the easy way out that turned into the hard way.
Well, I think that these were some of the choices. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is one of them. So definitely a deeper base. It's not as deep as the back of her hair, but deeper than what she had been doing at her regrowth. So that's one. So picture A, exhibit A. This is 2. Oops, she's getting text here.
Probably stand next
The
to
Lord is telling her to go to Mass. That was just a reminder that Mass is coming up. So that was another one, much more blonde, still not what she has right now. And then this was the third one, a little more depth showing at the root, much paler blonde, but still way more dimension than she was given. So those 3 pictures. Oh, and this one was her favorite. So this is the one that I believe that the stylist was following and thought, okay, she already has all the blondes, so let me just put an inch of dark at her regrowth and call it a day. So let's talk about it in step 1, step 2, step 3. I want you to write it down or put it in your phone notes, however you take notes and remember things. Think about, she sits in your, Stacy, wow, nothing what she showed. So she sits in your chair and you do step 1, step 2, step 3. So back in the comments, Donna Hogue, I never know if I'm getting it right, Donna, and you're my dear friend. Chelate recondition, where'd it go? What is that noise? Chelate recondition, use Olaplex and the chemical service when hair is strong enough and proper consult. So she's a member, so she knows that I'm going to ask her, what are your steps? What are you going to do? And she did it way back when we first started talking without me even asking. Her first reaction, Donna is an amazing educator and has a focus on the chemistry and the health and condition of the hair. She is always first and foremost concerned with how do we get this condition improved. Most of us, including I'm a card carrying, go for the gusto. Let's fix it. Don't always think about the chelating, the pH, all the things first, but it is an important step. So I'm glad that Donna pointed that out, and I hope that you all take the time to do that. So some comments I'll share. Latarsha, Julie buzzing me my words exactly. That's what awesome stylists do. We all miss sometimes. No stylist is perfect from not making your client happy, but be available to make her happy to fix it. Here's the deal though with the fixing. And I hope that you're honest enough with yourself to admit that when you have an adjustment, your energy and attitude towards that service is even lower than the original visit. The original visit, I have a new client. Let me touch up my lipstick. Let me wash my hands after I just smoked a cigarette because she's new. But if Sally's been coming for 5 years, you come out with onion breath and cigarette breath and all the things. So these are the things, and I don't smoke. I know I sound like I do, but I don't. But I know that a lot of hairdressers do. So being mindful of the first time visit and having your energy up high when they come back for an adjustment is important, because how do you feel if you were to walk into that salon and have the conversation of what you think needs to be done? Like, isn't it a little bit awkward? It's kind of like sending a meal back in a restaurant. Like, we went out to dinner last night and my dinner was like okay temperature, like kind of been sitting, not hot. And it was a $38 entree. And usually I'm a Karen. I'm like, this is unacceptable. Take it back. I saw that the restaurant was crowded. We're at the beach. I never have high expectations for my meal, but I will never go back. So do you want Truda to never come back, or do you want her to know that she's coming back feeling a little bit, I feel bad. I feel like she's going to take it out on my hair. And instead of being passive aggressive and kind of giving an attitude like, I'm not getting paid for this, over deliver, over compensate, and be so nice to her and say, oh my gosh, absolutely, I want you to come back. I didn't realize there was a disconnect in the consultation. Let's make this right. And if what she is asking for, which obviously it is the case, the appointment that she went to expecting to get the look in the phone, she knows that she only paid for a root retouch, but most clients aren't aware of what costs what. She's saying, I don't know if I got that keratin thing or not. And I don't know if I paid for it or not because I never looked at the receipt. And that's mostly the case. So you want to articulate, I'm so glad that you're back. I'm so glad that you're trusting me to correct this. I want to make this right. However, to make it right, I'm not going to give away the answer, but what we need to do to make it right requires a lot more process than a single process. So she needs to say, I'm going to credit the amount that you paid for this first visit towards what we actually need to do in a 4-hour appointment that we're going to schedule now. So not trying to rush through trying to fix it, because sometimes we rush to fix it and we make a bigger mess. So that is the point for today. Have a deep connected consultation, have a corrective consultation form to protect yourself. Talk about the price before you start doing the service, because she's going to find out when she gets to the front desk anyway. And she's going to feel differently about it when it's a shock, when she has sticker shock at the end, because now she has to pay it. Now the hair's done. If you tell her ahead of time and she doesn't agree with it, she can articulate to you that that's too high, it's over my budget, and she can either leave or she can get something that costs less money. Her example, no blow dry type thing. So make it work, but have that conversation ahead of time. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Vanna, for being here. I'm going to give you another close-up shot.
Okay.
So dig your head.
Can I add one more thing to this?
Sure.
So when I go to the salon, I ask the person doing my hair, I share with them what I'm looking for and pictures. And I give them a whole, like, kind of, just conversation in the beginning. And then after my hair is done, so in this situation, after my hair was done, I was what Alejandra would call hijacked. So I looked in the mirror and I thought, that's nothing what I wanted. And then I don't want to hurt her feelings, because I'm thinking, how am I going to, am I going to teach her something at this point? Probably not. So then I go up to the counter. When I went up to the counter, I paid the bill, and they said $120, and then I was hijacked again, because I'm like, oh my God, I didn't like. I'm walking out of here basically in my mind for roots being done, and I get the blowout too. And so I didn't say. I just said thanks, I appreciate it, and then I will not, I'll just disappear. I won't. I'm less likely to go back because I don't want to hurt their feelings. And then I think they want the regular customers where they can do the hair their way. They don't want me telling them how to do my hair. And when you came in, like I said, you spoiled me, because you said, you would separate my hair, do the highlights, lowlights, you would rinse out, even different times you would put a protectant on, and I would try to explain this to them, and they don't even I don't understand it, because I'm like, if you're a hairdresser, wouldn't you know about that, to protect the highlights by rinsing out the lowlights? And I said, my girlfriend, I said, she's been my best friend forever. She's asked the color expert, and she wrote a colorful journey. She's really good. Care to talk to her? I can pull her up on the phone if you want. And they go, no, I got this. And then I'm like, okay. And then I always pull up your show at the, and I say, oh, this is what she does. Really, she's really great. You can learn so much. And I don't know if they,
like crazy lady.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Challenge yourself and walk through all of the steps of what you would do from this point forward. I'm going to turn her one last time and show you the back, and write down, step 1, step 2, step 3, step whatever, how many steps. She's going to need a lot of steps. She's going to be in the 12-step hair correction program. But, and the pricing and, what it's going to cost for this, and this, so that you can actually, walk yourself through how much time it will take, how to have the conversation with the client, and take it from there. So this is the entire back is completely dark. Let me turn this light on. So lots to fix. Her natural level, the little bit that she has, I'm going to have her pull her pants down to show you her natural level. She is a 5, and she's in the library. So for the members, you guys can kind of cheat. She's a level 5 naturally and has 70% gray. Yes. So that is that's the tip. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Yeah.